It's a Friday, and we're talking football non-stop. All football, all the time. This is another edition of Football Friday with JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It is JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen. Welcome on into your Black Friday. If you're driving around and you're taking a listen, how about the Utah State Aggies, who are now up 23-13 on this Colorado State team? JJ, how did you put it? You're Colorado State, and you are just kicking yourself right now. You have a chance to possibly go to the Mountain West Championship game. When does UNLV play, by the way? Are they playing later today?
Tomorrow. Let me get the Mountain West scoreboard.
I always forget today's night. I know I keep saying Black Friday, but it just feels
6
like
p.m.
Saturday,
on Saturday.
So
they play Nevada. They're going to win that game at home.
All right.
So let's be honest. Colorado State's odds of getting in
pretty low,
because UNLV and Colorado State are tied in the standings, but they do not play each other this year. So the next tiebreak after head-to-head is your college football playoff ranking, and UNLV happens to be ranked 22nd. So the Mountain West is going to get what they want. They're going to get Boise State and UNLV in the Mountain West Championship game next week in Boise. Either result is good for the Mountain West because now that Tulane lost,
that's right.
I think UNLV, even if UNLV beat Boise State,
they'd still be a 12
at 22.
Seed?
They're going to get that 12 seed. They're going to be the group of 5.
Interesting.
They'll be the 5th highest rated conference champion.
Either way, it works out for the
Mountain West is in great shape.
Probably the better scenario would obviously be if a one-loss, losing to the number 1 team in the country, Boise State is your conference champion. Then you give yourself probably
Boise
a 4
State,
seed.
a 4 seed in the college football playoff.
The first year of it.
Oh my gosh.
Of course, of all the teams, who's it going to be? It's going to be Boise State busting the CFP the first year, right?
They've got arguably the best football player in the country right now in Ashton Jeanty. So
Travis Hunter, by the way, with the 52-0 win over Oklahoma State, Colorado. Everyone's like, "Yep, I'm not asking you to give me your vote, your Heisman vote, but honestly, does he check all the boxes for you? Does Travis Hunter? Is he? Obviously, he'll probably be a finalist. Does he have a real shot to win that Heisman Trophy? Is it locked
Travis
up?
Hunter?
Yeah,
it's all but a done deal.
Really?
Yeah. Look.
Colorado's going to have their second Heisman Trophy.
I haven't made my decision yet because Ashton Jeanty, I'm going to wait till after the Mountain West Championship game to really make my decision. Ashton Jeanty is having a special season.
He's going to have 2,600 yards, man.
He's having a special season for a running back. Travis Hunter is doing something that's generational. When is the last time we've seen a player? Maybe Woodson was the last guy we saw, and he won the Heisman Trophy, right?
Yeah.
Charles Woodson was the last player we saw do stuff like this, playing both sides of the ball, just dominating the football game from all different phases. Travis Hunter is a generational athlete, and again, I think Jeanty needs careful consideration. I'm really torn here. I actually am. I have not made my final decision, but you have to look at what Travis Hunter is doing right now as being generational, and he certainly is well deserving of the Heisman Trophy.
Before we get into our BYU versus Houston kind of breakdown here, and we'll keep talking about stuff that's it's a football Friday, so we're talking all football stuff, but if there were a Joe Burrow type quarterback right now in college football this year, here's the thing is we don't have that quarterback this year. We don't have some stud QB who's doing such insane things. Like Dylan Gabriel had all the chances in the world. Their team's winning, but he had all the shots in the world to be able to do something crazy this year, and he's just kind of pretty darn good, but not really a Heisman caliber guy. I don't know if –
I think our media friends in SEC country were polling for Jalen Milroe to have that kind of year, and it just didn't happen.
Just didn't happen. So that's my question: is if does Travis Hunter win the Heisman if there is a Joe Burrow type guy or a Kyler Murray type quarterback in the country this year?
No. If there was a Jaden Daniels this year.
Oh yeah.
Let me throw out a Jaden Daniels last year.
Mm-hmm.
Last year was crazy good. I had a really hard time last year, and I don't regret the way I voted, but I was totally fine with Jaden Daniels winning the Heisman Trophy. I voted for the 2 guys that had more team success because I thought it was that close.
Was it Penix and
so
then Bo Nix?
I voted first. I voted Michael Penix Jr. to win the Heisman last year. That Washington winning the Pac-12 championship and getting to the national championship game and everything he did for that program was phenomenal. And you're looking at what Bo Nix is doing right now for the Denver Broncos. Bo Nix was unbelievable for Oregon. I saw him in person against Utah. He was special. I voted for those two guys ahead of Jaden Daniels because Jaden Daniels at LSU, his numbers were insane, but the team didn't have the same success. And so I went with the other two guys. But you can make the argument that it's just about the best player, and I understand that, and that's totally fair. But with this year, without a Jaden Daniels or even a Bo Nix or a Michael Penix Jr., with those kind of crazy numbers at the quarterback position, you start looking around and you're like, Travis Hunter is doing something that's generational, and he certainly deserves consideration. There's no doubt about it for a Heisman Trophy, and he's probably the front runner right now. In fact, Vegas has him definitely the favorite.
Utah State just pick-sixed on a wild play, a kind of a throw to the out, and immediately as the player was caught this out route here, kind of in the flat, ball pops out of his midsection right into the hands of a Utah State defender who goes the distance. And the Utah State Aggies right now are leading 30-13 over the Colorado State Rams. Oh my goodness. At the almost the end of the third quarter here. We'll keep you up to date on that. Our program brought to you by G2G Bars, all natural ingredients and no preservatives. Make the G2G Bar perfect for anybody who needs a quick, tasty, nutritious boost. Let's kick things off officially here with The Cut. We are at the Doug Smith Mitsubishi here in American Fork. Let's do everything we can to keep this thing rolling on a Football Friday. It's The Cut right here at the top of the hour.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is What Made the Cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's a little late.
And, of course, The Cut brought to you by an incredible selection of Kia, Subaru, Chevy, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram, and now Mitsubishi, your Doug Smith family of dealerships in Linden, American Fork, and Spanish Fork. Great service starts with know-how, and nobody knows like Doug. I think that was probably a little tongue-in-cheek commentary by Scotty G. Hey, time to hop on that Bryson Barnes bandwagon. It's not just Bryson Barnes. How about the pick six for the Utah State defense?
He does have another year of eligibility. So
does he really?
He is technically a junior.
Do you think they'll –
Isn't that crazy? He's the new Cam Rising.
If you're him, you stay at Utah State, right, regardless of –
No doubt.
Regardless of
and you're right. I mean, I don't know who the next head coach is going to be. I don't know what they're going to be doing as far as recruiting goes. But, I mean, Bryson Barnes is going to go in as the returning starter. Petrus is going to be gone. Maybe Barnes gets that senior season to try to, be the starting guy at Utah State, which I think is exactly what he was hoping for when he went there.
Utah State up 17 now at the end of the third quarter. We've seen wilder things happen, right? And this Colorado State team just is shooting themselves in the absolute foot right here. BYU versus Houston. Let's jump in on this one because BYU, of course, the number one thing tomorrow that BYU has to figure out before they can even think about anything else happening. We will likely know what BYU's fate is regardless of the outcome of the BYU versus Houston game tomorrow. If Arizona State and Iowa State win and they play those games prior to BYU playing their game, if both of those teams win, then BYU's season isn't over, but the chance to go 10-2 is obviously still on the table. And I don't care what you say, it's not like BYU is going to suddenly just slump their shoulders and go, well, season's over. They want double-digit wins in the regular season. And this team obviously is still playing for a big-time bowl matchup, and they would likely be headed to that Alamo Bowl. If it were down to it, they would likely be playing in a nice bowl game against a good opponent. Kalani Sitake and his guys didn't play in a bowl game last year. It's not going to be a phoned-in bowl game, I think, for BYU. So even playing for that 10-2, a double-digit win regular season for Kalani Sitake is unreal, considering where we thought BYU would have been. How about a BYU versus Colorado matchup? Is that where the Action Network has BYU?
Remember, the Alamo Bowl has a Pac-12 requirement to fill. They
have to.
Colorado has to fill a Pac-12 bowl requirement.
Did you just say remember the Alamo Bowl? To start things off. Remember, the Alamo Bowl.
Yeah, remember.
Yeah, I got you.
BYU and Colorado would be a nice consolation prize. That would be unbelievable. That would be pretty fun in San Antonio.
Yeah, and listen.
Wouldn't you would love to see BYU get a shot at Colorado that they didn't get a chance to play this year? I think. And Coach Prime says that Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders will play in the bowl game. At least he expects them to. I think that's going to change, but.
Yeah, well, and again, getting it done against Houston is a must-have. They have to do it. To be able to not just keep this thing rolling, and to give themselves a shot. And again, this is an 8-3 Kansas State team taking on a 9-2 Iowa State team. So it's not like, and by the way, from a number standpoint, Kansas State could still make the Big 12 championship game. I think if they, have a lot go their way tomorrow, they'd have to have Arizona State lose. I guess they'd have to have BYU lose.
They need Arizona State, and they'd have to beat Iowa State.
Right. And then BYU would have to lose as well.
Yes.
Yeah, for them to be able to get in. So I do think that there is a chance that, you're just going to see a Kansas State team. You're going to see a Chris Kleiman team show up, and they've had a season that is, below their standard of what they thought they were going to do at 8-3. So if they could beat their Farmageddon rival and ruin their chance to be able to get to the Big 12 championship game, they'll absolutely try to do it. Here's Kalani Sitake talking about he kicks things off of his. I'm going to play something here for you because Kalani talked a little bit about not just their seniors, but one in particular during their media availability this week, and it was. It was Tyler Batty and kind of what he's meant to be able to come back, because Tyler Batty obviously chose to come back for his senior season. He chose to be a part of this again, this one final ride with his team. And, man, well worth it, I think, if you were to ask Tyler Batty because of how things have gone for this team. But here's what Kalani said this week, starting off talking about that effect that Tyler Batty's had on this program.
Yeah, he's meant so much, and he's been to so much, and he's been offered so much. And so he's got to have opportunities and to have, that's kind of, I don't think it's a secret that people have been trying to get after other people's players. And so he's definitely could have gone somewhere else for money if he wanted to, but he's all about legacy and he's all about doing what he can to help this program. This is his home. And so a lot of what we've done is you can see in the way he plays that he wants this place to succeed, and we've done some great things because of him and because of his teammates that are seniors. And so it's been a huge addition to our program. I love coaching him. I love what he's about. He's a local product from Payson, and he's one of the many seniors that we're going to honor. And just the program is in good hands because of him and because of his teammates, but feel really good about it, what he's done here as a player and as a captain.
Kalani, wanted to follow up on your comments about the Big 12 looking into that audio and the penalty or the lack of penalties, things like that at the end. What does that entail? Like, could there be a fine for ASU? Like, what are they looking into? What could that lead to potentially?
Well, I don't know. I didn't really check into it. I don't. I just trust the Big 12 and then the leadership and for them to look into things. I'm not, the game's done, so I'm not like sitting here complaining about anything. We just got to move on. But that's their job, is to look into stuff and see was it done? Was everything done the right way? And I want to let them handle that. I can handle what I can control, which is getting the team ready to roll, and I'm proud of these guys and doing it for the seniors. That's what these seniors have done so much for this program, and I've learned so much from these guys. Let's give everything we got for them because they've done it for us, and so that's kind of the goal. Let the Big 12 leadership handle everything else, but we're gonna be focused on our next opponent.
And with these seniors, 20, I see are listed, they navigated a pandemic, some of them, Big 12, like just the impact of what they've kind of done to set maybe a foundation for this Big 12 era for BYU. Your thoughts on that?
Oh yeah. It's a huge part of where we're at now. They're a big part of us getting into the Big 12, us making sure that we represent well in the Big 12, on and off the field, in the classroom. Just the way they carry themselves, seeing them interact with the other team and their fans. They've done a great job, and so like I said, I love coaching these guys. I want to do everything I can to help them, but this help them get a win. But the program has been led by them, and I've been really pleased with what they've done overall with this team and all these seniors. They can be really proud of what they've done and how the program is going right now because of them. So that's I can't say enough to show my appreciation and love for them, but man, they're awesome.
We'll take our last questions from Jake Hatch. Kalani, obviously there's going to be changes coming to roster sizes. It's going to be pared down to 105 players. How are you going to handle that, obviously, going forward? I know it's a bigger picture question, but how are you going to handle it?
I think a lot of coaches are kind of voice their opinions on it, and not a lot of them happy about it. So it's a struggle when you have to cut your family down, and you have to trim the roster, and it creates a lot of issues. And so for us, we'll have to figure out how to do that, and to get the roster down to 105. I think that's going to be a difficult thing for a lot of teams, not just us, but it's pushing guys out that have done so much for our program, and that's always a hard thing for me to deal with. And so I'm no different than anyone else. I mean, they all love their players too, and so it's an unfortunate part of the rules, but we got to abide by them, and we'll do the best we can with it.
Kalani's got a lot for his guys to play for, obviously, this week, and this has been, despite the last 2 weeks, it's been a dream season for BYU, right? I mean, people need to understand and remember how big of a deal this season has been, and they get a home game to wrap up the season to go 10-2 against a team that is absolutely beatable there in Provo. You just hope that offense finds itself again in the next, like it did at the end of that second half. I want to see what type of offense shows up again. By the way, this Houston defense is no slouch.
No, they're good.
They've been pretty good all
season
season
long. Their offense
stinks.
The offensive coordinator was fired, but the defense has been good all season long.
Yes. It's an interesting one for me to be able to look at and go 10-2. We went into this season giving them at best a 6-6 year, right? I mean, the reality is that was a good scenario for BYU. I think I had them at 6-6. I think you had them at 5-7.
Yeah.
And for us to be able to look now, and that's not like dogging you. I think 5-7 was a coin toss with 6-6.
Based on what we knew before the season,
yes.
With the schedule, we thought their schedule was going to be brutally hard.
Right.
Just the whole conference was flipped upside down. Who would have guessed that? Who would have been able to predict that?
I've never seen something like that of a conference where the anticipation as to what's going on with these two teams, or with the teams at the top and the teams at the bottom, those two groups of teams, to have them flip like they have, I've never seen something like that. What would the equivalent be? I guess it's Indiana having the year that they had.
It would have been like the old Mountain West of TCU, BYU, and Utah. Had a combined 4 wins in conference play. Like, that would blow your mind, right? That New Mexico wins the conference.
If you were to say, honestly, if Utah loses this game today against UCF, you will have a combined conference record with Oklahoma State and Utah at 1-17.
Let's go one better.
1-17.
Oklahoma State, Utah, Arizona. The 3 teams that everybody thought was probably good. One of those 3 teams was probably winning the whole thing. Oklahoma State 0-9. If Utah goes 1-8 and Arizona goes 2-7, they would combine for 3 wins
3-24
among the 3 teams.
3-24.
That is insane. That's how crazy. And the point that Chris Kleiman was making earlier, like, this conference just beat itself up. The parity is crazy. Look how many 5-3 teams there are in the conference, Alex. So there's between 7-2 and 5-3 teams. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams at 5-3 or 7 or 6-2 or 7-2. So that's 9 teams in the conference have 2 or 3 losses. That's insane.
It's a football Friday, and of course the NFL is having its very first Black Friday game. Black Friday game that they. Will you explain to me exactly what happened in this game? The Chiefs are playing. Well, let's call a spade, JJ. It was the best team in football playing the worst team in football.
That's right. Antonio Pierce was right. It turned out he was exactly right.
Oh, my gosh. But can you please explain to the viewership, to the listenership, what happened in this game? Because the Chiefs just keep getting away with them. And I could just imagine our buddy Rusty Keys watching this thing, standing up in front of his TV and just cursing up a storm. Not that he curses, but, getting all sorts of upset because the Raiders were getting in position to kick a winning field goal, and what happened?
This is the 9th game this year that they've won a game decided by 7 points or less, the Chiefs. And so the Raiders had the ball. So the score was 19-17, Kansas City. The Raiders had the ball, and they drove down in the final 2 minutes. They're doing the 2-minute drill to perfection. They get down to the Kansas City 32-yard line. They're setting up to kick a field goal. They have one more play, and then they can call timeout and kick the field goal. It's 3rd and 3. And all of a sudden, Aiden O'Connell's not paying attention. The ball gets snapped. It bounces off of him. Fumble. Kansas City recovers. Chiefs escape again. How do the Chiefs keep doing this?
Look, I didn't give the Raiders a chance, and I guess I shouldn't have. I guess I still shouldn't have because it was
Chiefs win the game 19-17. The Chiefs are now 11-1. Again, they have 8 of those 11 wins by 7 points or less.
They could very well have had a Kansas football type of a season. If they would
imagine if these had been flipping the other way.
No, I know.
We'd be watching the end of a dynasty.
That's where Kansas was all season long at the beginning of the year, and now Kansas has just been playing phenomenal football.
They can win and get to a bowl game today.
It's bonkers
on Saturday.
I want them to.
So do I.
I want them to just because they've been so dang good. And by the way, they would beat a Baylor team that is upstart and back at it again, and Dave Aranda has saved his job this year.
Baylor's 7-4. Wow.
Crazy.
And if we're all going to take a little truth serum, who's the best team in the Big 12 right now?
Right now,
in Week 14.
Would any team want to play Kansas
No.
going into this game?
Just ask all the teams that just played Kansas.
And look, Arizona State, to their credit, they beat Kansas this year, 35-31 when they played one another. And that was a 4-point game. And that was and again, like I said, but they're rolling right now. Jalen Daniels is feeling himself right now. And Devin Neal's scary. So
they have wins in the last 3 weeks over Colorado, BYU, and Iowa State. 3 teams that are alive for the conference championship.
They lost
game.
by 2 points a week before that to Kansas State.
Right. You played 4 of the best teams in conference, and you went 3-1.
Crazy.
Kansas right now is the best team in the Big 12. But
I won't even allow that. But they're also 5-6.
You can't start the season 1-6. Look, they lost to UNLV. They lost at Illinois. They lost at West Virginia. They lost at home to TCU. They lost at Arizona State. They were 1-6.
Oh my gosh!
A crazy turnaround.
Bonkers.
But yeah, I feel pretty confident saying Kansas is playing the best football in the conference right now.
We'll take a break. More to go right around the corner. Stay with us. It's 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
It's a Friday, and we're talking football non-stop. All football, all the time. This is another edition of Football Friday with JJ and Alex. Presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It is a Football Friday right here at the Doug Smith Mitsubishi and American Fork. Alex Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen, and the Utah State Aggies, who are trying to hold on. 30-21 right now. 10:32 left in the fourth quarter. The Aggies are leading Colorado State 30-21. Bryson Barnes just running all over the place. He's got over 130 yards rushing on the day, and he just keeps doing it.
Jumping over linebackers.
Now 150 yards on the ground. Jeez. Hey, by the way, he's running the ball. Colorado State. Don't know if you knew this. He's going to run the ball. So. They are.
What a story Bryson Barnes is.
Look,
what a story.
It was 3rd and 15, and he got himself 15 and a half yards jumping over a linebacker. So
he's at 135 yards rushing today.
Bonkers. All right, we've got tons going on here on the program. Join Hans and Scotty, by the way, at El Matador, one of their favorite places to be, one of our favorite places to eat, of course. If you're up in Davis County, it's phenomenal. 606 South Main Street in Bountiful on Tuesday from noon to 3. Catch them right there. El Matador, a Utah Mexican food staple for over 50 years. It's Black Friday, and so that means that you can make some very good purchases. We're at the Mitsubishi talking about these great deals. But if you're BYU and you've got a sale out there, what's the purchase you're making for this BYU team on a Black Friday?
Tickets to the Big 12 championship game.
Okay. But not as a spectator, right?
As a team playing in it for the championship.
Plain,
that's it. That's all BYU
tickets.
Fans want for Christmas is a Big 12 championship.
Okay. If I'm BYU and I get one purchase, and this belies a little bit of how I felt some during the year, but the consistency that you've gotten from Jake Retzlaff this year might be a little bit spotty here and there, but the guy has won a lot this year, and I think he's going to bring a lot next year to the team. I'm going to go, because you already took the easy answer, I'm going to go with throwing a couple of NIL dollars at Jake Retzlaff. Not crazy. I'm not talking crazy talk, but keep Jake in the program, and because really I don't know what your other options are. I'm not saying the McKay Hillstead's not a great option, but you still want to develop him, right? And so I think that you're looking at a lot more guys. Noah Lugo, right? He's going to be another guy who you want to develop. But I think next year you want Jake Retzlaff back, and you want him playing football for you. I don't think the NFL is an option for him. So that's my BYU Black Friday purchase. For Utah, what's your Utah Black Friday purchase?
A starting quarterback in the transfer portal. I think Utah's got to go out and find a guy that can help them win next year. Give Isaac Wilson, if he chooses to stay in the program, more time to develop. He doesn't have to deal with the pressure they had to deal with this year. It may be Brandon Rose. Give those guys some more time. But you got to go out and get a guy that can lead you to wins because they didn't have that for the last 2 years.
I like that.
It's not Cam Rising. Cam Rising is not the answer.
I like that. But I'm going to, with my Black Friday purchase for Utah, I'm going to buy a gunslinging, crazy spread offensive coordinator.
I like that. That might be even better.
Please give me somebody with, trips left and twins right, empty.
Give Kyle Whittingham a heart attack.
Oh my gosh! And maybe that's the thing that of all the things that could make him, be like, hey, college football is not for me anymore. The NIL stuff, the transfer portal. He might be like, I can't have an empty backfield with 5 wide receivers.
I don't. Kyle Whittingham an empty backfield. This doesn't sound like it's a good match.
You had a tight end out there, Kyle. Come on.
Yeah,
that's still
that's
part
not
of your
a blocking tight end out there. Trust me.
All right, what's your purchase for Utah State on this Black Friday?
A big-time head coach, and I think they need to go out there, and I think that there is some support, I think, financially out there among boosters to go make it happen. I think they got to go out and get Jay Hill as their new head coach, and that would completely transform their program and give them a chance to be perennial Pac-12
Oh, look at that.
contenders.
I keep forgetting. I don't know how, but I keep forgetting. All right, let me ask you this. Is Jay Hill – do you think Jay Hill's really – do you think that's really could be in the cards for the Aggies?
The chance to make millions of dollars coaching college football and not have to move your family? Yeah, absolutely. I think it's an opportunity where he can win. I think one of his great mentors is Gary Anderson, who's won there big. But Jay's going to have the energy and he's going to be in his coaching prime. I think it's a perfect fit for Utah State. And I think it's a great opportunity for Jay Hill. We know that Utah job's not going to open. Morgan Scalley's going to get that when Kyle hangs it up. Do you want Kalani going anywhere if you're BYU? I mean, Kalani should get an extension after this year.
Right.
So that opportunity to be a head coach again and to stay in state would be too much for me if I'm Jay Hill to pass up on.
Be a massive blow to that defense. I'm going to go, and this is going to sound mean, but I think you hit the transfer portal and find a different athletic director.
Oh, wow.
Does that mean? I mean, really. I'm not saying that I just don't think she wants to be there.
Right.
You know what I mean? She might take herself out of it. She might find herself a different job. So there you go. All right, we'll take a break. We got to take another break here. We got to make sure we get out on time. Get you ready for Utah pregame coming up at the top of the hour here. We're going to chat one more time, and we're going to give our score predictions. We're also going to give you an update as to what our predictions were last week and kind of give you where we were at, see if we were close at all. And so that's what we'll come back to. More to go. We're at the Doug Smith Mitsubishi here in American Fork. Stay here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
It's a Friday, and we're talking football non-stop. All football, all the time. This is another edition of Football Friday with JJ and Alex. Presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us on a Black Friday. We are at the Doug Smith Mitsubishi here in American Fork. Awesome deals. Chris Smith is going to chat with us in just a couple minutes here to get you ready for your weekend of being able to come in and take a test drive. Give it a shot yourself. By the way, the BYU basketball team just beat NC State this afternoon,
nice
72-61. Yeah, and I mean, it's not the NC State team that was in the Final Four last year, but good win for the Cougs. It'll probably end up still being a quad one win by the end of the season. So, and Utah State, let's give your score predictions for this one, JJ, right off the bat. Utah State is up 30-28. Does it end that way, or is it a 31?
The Rams are going to beat them.
No.
Yeah.
Why would you do this?
They're hot right now. Plenty of time in the game. 6:03 in Fort Collins. Just feels like Utah State's the game's slipping out of their reach.
Utah State was driving, and then a fumble gave the ball up quickly, and then neither team is really able to stop the other.
No.
That fumble was fortuitous for Colorado State because Bryson Barnes is running all over these dudes. And but yeah, 30-28 with just under 6 minutes left now in this game in Fort Collins, and so we'll keep you updated on that one. All right, JJ, your predictions for. Well, let's start things off here with Utah first. I'll go first with the coin toss going your direction. So I'm going to say Utah. I'm going to say battle, like just absolute Braveheart Utah shows up. You know what I mean? Not that they're the underdogs in this game, although they might be.
They are 9.5-point underdogs.
That's a lot. But
yeah,
I still think that they have better athletes on that team than UCF does on their defense. And I think that defense comes up big, and I think they get just enough done. I'm going to say it's going to be a 20-16 Utah win over the UCF Golden Knights.
You're going to go with the Utes to end the losing
the
streak.
Golden Knights?
Golden Knights.
Whatever they are. Okay.
I too think the Utes are going to show well. I think the Utes are going to show some heart in this one. I think there's some pride on that team. I think there's a lot of seniors that don't want to go out like this, that know how to win. If they were playing a better opponent, it'd be like, that doesn't really matter. They've been trying to win for the last 7 weeks and haven't been able to do it. But this is different. UCF's not a very good football team. UCF is a team that probably wants their season to end. I like Utah in this game. I'm going to pick them to win 27-21.
27 points. I don't even know. I was trying to convince myself where they got
UCF's not going to play a lot of defense in this game. Let me just say that. Luke Batari. I think Luke Batari is going to provide a spark. I think Mekhi Bernard's going to be highly motivated to get those 100 yards.
Yep.
And I think that this team is going to go out a winner.
I say Charlie Vincent gets a rushing touchdown today, too.
Why not?
Throw
Senior.
it in there. All right. And then finally, our BYU versus Houston's score picks here. Go ahead. Give us a BYU and Houston matchup here.
It's going to be cold. It's going to be low scoring because I'm still not sold on BYU's offense yet, although I saw a lot of promising things in the second half. But a late night, we're going to know what's going to happen in the first two games. BYU wins this game 24-0.
Wow.
That defense gets a shutout. That offense is bad. New offensive coordinator this week.
Yeah.
I just don't think that Houston's going to be able to move the ball against BYU. The Cougars aren't going to light up the scoreboard terribly, but 24-0 I think is how it's going to end up.
I think that you're going to see BYU's offense.
Houston's not going to want to be there.
I think BYU's offense is going to get going a little bit, and so I'm going to give it a. And I don't think Houston's going to get shut out, but I'm going to go 34-17.
Cougs get way over.
What's the over/under?
41.5.
Not too bad.
Cougars are 12.5-point favorites.
I'm into the 50s. I'm into the 50s.
You are.
On that one.
That's a lot of points on cold weather on a November day.
I think if you're a BYU fan, you need those points to feel good about going into if there is a Big 12 championship situation
100%.
that your offense does get rolling.